Hello and welcome to Better Know a VTuber, a show where we get to better know VTubers, like the name says. That's what you're watching. Thank you for being here. And today I'm with Eisu. Say hello, Eisu.
Hello, Eisu. I mean, pending.
Argama made the same joke.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like everyone's gonna make that joke. I think Obsidian might have made that joke too.
I think so.
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. So, Eisu,
Yes.
something that I wanted to start by asking you was, how did you find out about VTubers in the first place?
Actually, when I found out VTubers, it's the same as almost anyone. It's from Kizuna Ai.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not saying everyone found out from Kizuna Ai, but almost anyone I know, say that they know VTubers from Kizuna Ai first. And
Yes.
and I followed her for quite a while, like a year and couple of months, until I found out there's more than her. It wasn't just her. Then I
Right.
started going into a whole bunch of going through a bunch of other YouTube channels and going to more Japanese YouTubers, VTubers, sorry. But at that time, I was still thinking it was just a Japan thing. I didn't know there was an English side. Until, I followed Eileen family and found Moe. There was that video that Moe did that showed a bunch of other VTubers. English VTubers, I mean.
I think that was her April Fool's skit.
Yes, and that's when I found out about other English VTubers. And I started following them as well.
Oh, nice. So, you speak some Japanese, right?
Here and there. I mean, I can hold a short conversation.
Because I was wondering, when it comes to your interest in Japanese VTubers, was that kind of an offshoot of your interest in Japan in general?
Yes, pretty much. Because I was a fan of anime since I was a kid. And, that was like back in the 80s. So, because of that, it grew. When I found out about Kizuna Ai, I was like, wow, this is an amazing technology. Because I was amazed with what I was seeing. So, pretty much that grew me into seeking more content like that.
Yeah. You grew up in Malaysia. You still are in Malaysia, right?
Yes, I still am here.
Is anime particularly big there?
Sort of. I mean, we have anime dubs in Malay for our television channels since the mid 80s, because we had like the first Macross dubbed in Malay before Robotech appeared. And then there was also like a bunch of other like obscure anime that we apparently got some license to actually dub over. So we don't have the actual Japanese version yet, until I found out on some VHS that there was people selling some videos that was like the original Japanese language, and that's when I started getting more interest into the Japanese side of anime, and not just as an animation in general.
Was anime what inspired you to get into art? Because you're an artist, you draw comics and stuff, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't anime that got me inspired. It was actually my father.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my father was a comic artist as well. But no, he was actually a businessman. But he drew comics on the side. And seeing him draw comics, I got interested in drawing, and I started drawing comics. And my father was also not an avid collector of comics, but he does buy some here and there. He used to be. He used to be like a huge collector of comics when he was younger, and I still have a bunch of his old comic collection around in my home right now. And because of that, I started going into comics, reading comics, and then started wanting to draw comics pretty much.
So was making comics something that you wanted to do professionally since you were a kid?
Yeah, I ever since I was about 7 years old was when I started drawing around like 5, but wanting to draw comics and thinking like wanting to make this as a professional thing, that was since I was 7. Of course, back then, when people hear about drawing comics, they say like, oh, you can't make a living like that. You gotta have a backup, or you gotta do some other job, and the comic has to be a side thing.
It is a really tough profession. Was it particularly hard breaking into it? Like, did you struggle a lot at first?
Yeah, definitely did. Because I mean, I'm still not in the mainstream side of comic drawing. I'm still like just drawing independently, like for some independent comics, or I mean, I've been freelancing my almost my whole life, and and comic wise, I've been freelancing almost my whole life. And to break into the comic industry really took me some time. Even the local magazines didn't take me in straight away. I submitted several comics to the local Malaysian magazines for them. Got some rejection, but constructive criticism that helped me improve a lot more. So that helped.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Constructive criticism is always super helpful.
It is.
There was a period of time when I was aspiring to be a novelist.
Oh.
And you get a lot of rejections when you're trying to write, and most of the rejections come in the form of them not emailing you back.
The silent one. So, I got those too.
Yes.
I got several of those as well.
How did you kind of persevere through that? Was it particularly discouraging for you?
Yeah, that was okay. I actually tried to send submission to Marvel once to be there to be a penciler, and I got rejected. And the particular rejection was just what do you say? Is a letter from not from the hit editor, but like one of the smaller editors. A name I don't actually know as well. And when I got that, it pretty much like shot my comic to pieces, pretty much.
Oh wow!
And I was like, I got depressed for a while on that one, but not like a long time depression. I think it's maybe 2 weeks or so, and then I was like, if I continue staying depressed, I'm not gonna get anything done. So I just forced myself to perk up and go back to work.
When did things start picking up for you? Like, when did it start really taking off?
Locally, it started around 1999 when a local magazine decided to accept my comic submissions and publish my comic locally in Malaysia. And then I started going from magazines to magazines here in Malaysia, drawing some one-shot comics here and there. And my name starts to get more renowned in Malaysia. But internationally, that started in 2006. Oh well, actually, end of 2006. Around when my online comic called Noping Ponies was picked up by KeenSpot for some for online distribution and also possibility of publication. And when that happened. Because KeenSpot back then was a huge name in online comic. It's like if you get your comic in KeenSpot, pretty much like you get a nice space and with a lot of readers. And so getting that in KeenSpot got me a lot of readers coming in and people getting to know me more. So I guess in 2006 with international. With my online comic Noping Ponies, that's still sort of going on right now, but on hiatus because I haven't really get back to it because I was busy with everything else, and now with VTubing as well.
Yeah. Has since you started doing VTubing, has VTubing been kind of your primary focus, or because I know it's become kind of a running joke, but you don't really sleep. And I suspect the reason you don't really sleep is because you have so much work on your plate.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the actual, it's not, the whole justice never sleeps thing. There's actual truth in it, where the whole thing is more because of my workload with my comic jobs.
Does it get overwhelming? Like, how do you kind of keep yourself focused?
Honestly speaking, sometimes I don't get focused and I cannot draw because my mindset is not there to actually get to the drawing, like to grind myself to the drawing, right? So that's when I started playing games. So VTubing actually helps me in that sense. because it helps me
Right.
clear my mind, so that later on that night or whatever, I can start drawing again.
Was that how VTubing started, as sort of a distraction from your main work?
Oh, funny enough, that wasn't how VTubing started at all. Before I started VTubing, I was working in an animation company that I started with some friends. 4 of us started it.
Right.
And near the end of 2000, no, was it the end or the beginning? I think it was beginning of 2017. Yeah, was when I quit from the job, mainly because I wanted to concentrate on comics more with current jobs and all that. So I quit my animation job and then start going back to comics. And then while because when you draw, I need some kind of a video playing in the background. So Kizuna Eye was a really good video for me to just have it play while I'm drawing.
Right.
Yeah. That got me interested in more about VTubers and all that. And then when Kizuna Eye does collabs, that's when I found out more about other VTubers. And I was fascinated with technology. I was like, this is actually a pretty good technology. If I can utilize this somehow with my talents or abilities of drawing, right? I was like, maybe I can do something out of it. At that time, I didn't know there was actually artist VTubers. I thought it was just like mainly gaming people. And yeah, so I was like working since mid 2018, trying to figure out how to actually VTube. But at the same time, I was also working on comics, so workload was like piling up. I couldn't work on the whole VTubing thing, concentrate on it. So yeah, if I could have, I would have debuted sometime in 2018, but because of the delay and all that, that's how late I got to in 2019.
When was your debut?
June 3rd, 2019.
June 3rd.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So about a year it took me to actually prepare the character and the idea behind the character and everything.
How long did you spend making the lore of Eisu? And why did you pick like a superhero theme for Eisu?
Funny story. This will break everyone's immersion, of course.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Eisu, when I started him, was supposed to be a supervillain.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He wasn't supposed to be a superhero. I wanted to be like, so that I can have a lot of fun, like cackling or pranking people and stuff like that, right? But then I found out about the English VTuber world, and I found out there's a lot of people who goes like demon this, bad guy that,
Yeah, there's a lot of people who kind of play up an anti-hero theme with in the English VTuber space.
Yes, exactly. So that's when I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna be a supervillain, I'm just gonna be one, like, I'm gonna be in this like crowded scene already. So I was like, you know what?
Right.
I gotta go somewhere else. So I was like, why not? I change my design a bit, make it more friendly looking, so that I can be, so that I'll turn it into a superhero instead. Cause yeah, the original lore, I was supposed to be a villain, and it wasn't even an isekai thing. I wasn't even supposed to use my Eisu name. I wanted to come up with a whole different character, because the Eisu name is a name that I've used since it's what I use in my comic jobs, basically.
You bring up the name Eisu, and that kind of ties into something that's always interested me about you, specifically that for you don't make much of an attempt to maintain a certain level of anonymity online, like most VTubers on the English side, and I think especially on the Japanese side, try and kind of hide their name, hide their face, hide, in some cases, their profession. Whereas you're pretty open about all of that. I was wondering if there was ever any thought about maintaining a certain level of anonymity, and if there was, kind of, why did you decide to be as open as you are?
That actually ties into the whole I was supposed to be a supervillain thing. Because when I want to do as a supervillain into my VTubing life, right? I wanted to be like a whole new guy with a whole new name. I was going to do like a whole new Twitter page, a whole new email and all that for him. So it'd be like this guy that's new, that was never there before. But when I decided to be a superhero, I was like, how did I become a superhero? That's what I was like thinking, right? So I was figuring out like what kind of lore do I want to give him. Some kind of like father, parents' death or something. Then I was like thinking to myself, why, then I was watching a lot of anime at the same time. And at that time, isekai was like, getting transferred to another world thing. Was like such a huge thing, right? So I was like, why don't I do that where I got transferred into the VTuber world? So, but then if that's the case, I don't need to hide who I am. I was thinking, I can still maintain the same name and everything.
So your lore is that you are you, the person that you've always been, but now you're stuck in the VTuber world.
Yes.
Pretty
much. I've been I died in the real world, and then now I'm in the virtual world.
And have decided to take up a life of heroism.
Yes.
Given that you originally were going to be a villain and then kind of swamped it to the hero role, was Shadow Eisu something that you had always intended, or did that come later?
That came much later, because I decided to have someone that I can play off as a villain that's that I don't have to do a new Life 2D model for. Because all I have to do is just swap colors for him.
I certainly know the temptation. I've made a lot of pendings in my day.
Yeah, that's true.
Even an evil pending.
Yep.
Yeah.
That guy can be very scary.
He tries to be.
And then that whole holding the world hostage for a cookie.
Yeah.
Good thing Good thing we stopped him.
Well, for now.
Yep.
Evil pending shall rise again.
That sounds bad.
I'm working on a skit involving evil pending. So.
Yeah. Okay. That's gonna be fun.
This will come out first, though. I hope. As long as things play out the way I assume they will, this will come out before the evil pending skit. Otherwise, this will make no sense. I take it that you drew your character yourself. Did you also rig your character?
Yes, I did. I actually went through that's another reason why it took me so long to actually get it debut. Because I was like working on learning 2D, Live 2D at the same time to rig it and all that. And then, there was a time that I was, I think it was like 2018, I think around December, where it wasn't this model, but I was like just testing out a model and then trying out Live 2D and all that. And I learned pretty much like the basics of it and got that one done, but it wasn't really the one I want to do. So, but it was his test, right? But I liked it, and I was like, okay, that's good to learn. And then I got swamped by workload, and then when I got back to Live 2D, I was like, oh, I forgot everything. So I gotta relearn everything all over again.
And then eventually you decided to make a 3D Eisu.
Yeah.
And unlike most people who went the Vroid route, or otherwise commissioned someone, you made it yourself in Blender.
Yep, I did. That's because I tried Vroid to make 3D Eisu, but they don't have the body type I want, because they don't have the bulky body. It's all just like slender high school bodies,
like a pending.
Yeah, like a pending, exactly. I mean, nothing wrong with that. It's just not the type I want for Eisu.
Yeah, exactly. You wanted a superhero should be very muscular.
Exactly. So
even if they are 3'4".
Yeah, 3'4". Wait. Oh, okay. Thank God, I haven't shrunk yet. No, I'm still 3'4" for now.
No, don't worry. You're in your 2D form. Your 2D form is taller.
It's taller.
Yeah.
So yeah, my 3D form basically. After the whole Vroid thing, I was like, well, can't work on this on Vroid, so I started checking out Blender. Because actually, I started checking out like if you can edit body shape in Vroid. Right? I searched online, Google and all that, and they all said you gotta work it. You gotta change it in Blender. I was like, okay, I'll learn Blender. So I started learning Blender, started going to all the tutorials for Blender, worked on it, did the model, and then something happened where I didn't like the model, so I scratched it and reworked on it again. And finally, I sent it to Deep for rigging because I wasn't sure if I'm gonna rig it right or not. So I wanted Deep to check it out first, rig it for me, then I can learn from his rigging. So yeah, Deet helped me out a lot on that one. He even cleaned up my model as well because apparently my model was not optimum. Yeah. So he helped me like clean it up, like really round it up. So what you see, the final one you see, the smoothness and all that, that's all Deet. Because my original one was pretty blocky.
Was that your first experience with making 3D art as opposed to, 2D comics and Eisu and all that?
Yeah, that was actually my first ever foray into 3D. Because even back when I was working in animation, it was just 2D animation. So I've never actually known anything about how to make 3D models and all that. It took me a while to learn it, even if it's on Blender.
I can imagine.
And they say Blender is like the simplest one when you compare to like Maya or 3D Studio Max. I was like, oh wow. Even that took me a while.
I gotta imagine it was very intimidating, especially at first.
Yep. And the main reason I actually did a 3D model of Eisu is so that I can do poses with actual like hand poses. And not just because as you see when in my previous videos on YouTube, you can see on the thumbnails, it's just me pasting my 2D and having like my face looking left or right and smiling or scowling and all that.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly showing any kind of action, right? But now with the 3D model, you can see in the new thumbnails I make, I actually pose the model up so that I can actually have a much more actiony look. So I'm not sure if I'll even ever actually stream with my 3D model unless it's like VDraw or VR chat. But because right now I'm mainly streaming with my 2D model because in the end I just like the 2D, the whole idea of moving drawing better than a 3D model. But that's just me.
Right. I think a lot of people, especially early on, a lot of people really like 2D. I think part of the reason why 3D became so prevalent is that originally, because Vroid wasn't really a practical and affordable solution initially, 2D was oftentimes actually the cheaper route.
Yeah.
And since Vroid took off, that's kind of flipped where it's actually cheaper to get a 3D model than a 2D model.
That's true. Especially for you to commission 3D models, like you just commission the person to actually do the model, and it's because of Vroid, it's automatically rigged, right? With 2D, live 2D, the person you commission will have to draw, design. I mean, if you don't have a design, then draw and then probably have to rig it on live 2D as well, which would take more budget.
Do you have any plans to make kind of lore skits and that kind of thing?
Oh, I have so much plans for lore skits.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have like this one plan. This one has been in the works since August, where I wanted to do like a video of me pretty much like telling people to be careful because all these villains are on the loose. So it's me to show my rogues gallery pretty much. And it's not just gonna be Shadow Eisu, it's gonna be like other villains that I have, like Mr. Lag and
Mr. Lag?
Yeah, Mr. Lag, he lags your live stream. That's what his power is.
Yeah.
And then there's also Lazy Nurse. Her power is to bestow upon you the feeling of laziness to the point that you don't want to do any work, or you just want to just lie around doing nothing. So that's Lazy Nurse.
I've faced her before.
A lot of people have. And then one of my favorite one was that's still, I mean, Mr. Lag is not a big problem anymore, especially since I upgraded my PC. But one of my favorite villains that is a huge problem these days is Freeze Frame. He would suddenly freeze you, and suddenly my virtual body won't be able to move, but I'm still talking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my excuse when when face rig, the camera is not really catching my movements. and you see my model's not moving, so I was freeze frame, it's you again.
That's a good way to incorporate it.
Yep.
Mm.
I mean, back then when I was playing with my old PC, whenever a lag happened, I was like, Mr. Lag is very tough
Because
today.
when you were initially streaming, you were kind of playing on a PC that wasn't really equipped to do it.
No. I mean, it was equipped to play the game, just not stream it. That's the problem.
Yeah. Streaming takes up a lot of your computer's resources.
Exactly. It's funny that when I was playing Minecraft, especially, the game was like going like 5 to 6 frames per second. It was really bad. The lag was bad, and people were like telling me, "How do you play like this?" I'm like, "Oh no, the game is fine on my side. It's just bad on the stream."
Yeah, exactly. You're doing fine. It's us that are having trouble interpreting what's happening.
Exactly. Because I was like, and back then I was too afraid to have the stream open to reviews if my stream was okay, because my PC was old, right? So
yeah. Actually, having the stream open at the same time would have taxed you more.
Exactly. So I would have like my game on, my OBS on, and I'd be closing everything else. Like no browser, nothing else going on, just OBS and my game. Right. So I wouldn't be able to see the stream, but I see people in chat talking about the stream. So when people in chat was like, it's lagging like crazy, and then I would check on my phone. I was like, oh wow, that is lagging. Yeah, back then, it was even before I introduced Shadow Eisu. Mr. Lag was like my arch nemesis. He was basically my Joker back then.
He just wants to watch the world burn.
Exactly. He's just lagging my game just because he can.
Yeah. But you got a character out of that for your future skits.
Yep. If I ever get to do more lore videos, I am planning to do actual storylines with all these villains. Yeah, I'm probably gonna put Mr. Lag as a forefront and Shadow Eisu, because one thing about Shadow Eisu is that he's not actually a villain. He's just a very naughty man who likes to prank people.
In the meantime, though, you're doing a lot of YouTube streams and Twitch streams. You actually are streaming on both platforms, which is fairly rare. Most people kind of pick Twitch and stick with it.
Yeah.
Is there any particular reason you're doing the YouTube streams as well?
No real reason other than for a while, I think from November till January, I hardly made any more YouTube streams. I was just concentrating on Twitch a lot. And And then one day I was like looking at my analytics on YouTube. I was like, you know what? I can actually build this. I was like, why not? I try to do it, because originally I wanted YouTube to be where I put all the lore stuff, all the lore videos.
Right.
Not much into live streams, right? But then I started thinking like I'm not having a lot of time to myself to build these lore videos yet. Maybe in the future I will, but right now I'm not. So I might as well do something to actually have content in YouTube. So that's when I started thinking I should live stream on YouTube as well, because I mean it's not as good as Twitch live stream, because Twitch live stream is way better. You don't get so much latency and all that. But at the same time, YouTube does have its plus as well, in terms of the archiving, basically.
Yeah, the archiving's really nice on YouTube.
Exactly. So you don't have to worry about it. And I like the fact that you can schedule your stream ahead of time. So you can have like, okay, I'm gonna have my stream at this time. So I'll do a little thumbnail, put it up, and start showing on Twitter or other places, saying that I'm gonna be streaming at this time at this game, and they'll be seeing like a link, so they can go to that link first and bookmark it or whatever. And I like that idea.
You can schedule things on Twitch too, but not in the same way.
Yeah, exactly. The scheduling, I tried the scheduling in Twitch. It's a bit janky in comparing to the YouTube one, because the YouTube one is so much more user friendly. Do
you find that you have a different audience on YouTube compared to Twitch, or is it mostly the same audience?
Surprisingly, I find that there's not a vast difference, but I do have different viewers on YouTube than Twitch. Like Twitch, there's regular people that I know, Carbide or Molly Moss and all that, right? With YouTube, I mean, Molly does come to my YouTube as well, so that's a better example. But there are people who don't go to my Twitch who would actively chat in my YouTube live stream. So I was actually quite
Yeah.
surprised by the how I can actually get two different groups of people from the two different platforms.
I find it to a small extent as well. Like I do both Twitch streams and YouTube streams.
Yep.
And my YouTube streams aren't particularly big. I think mostly because I play EU4 on YouTube, and that's not like super popular, but I love it anyway, so I keep doing it.
Hey, as long as you
But
have
I
fun.
do, yeah, exactly. But I do notice that there are some people that show up to the YouTube streams that don't show up to the Twitch streams,
Right?
and of course vice versa.
Exactly. It's like some people that I see on YouTube are not the same people I would see on Twitch, and I'm quite surprised
Yeah.
by the amount of difference.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
'Cause
know. I don't know what's the reasoning behind it, but I just like this is quite interesting. This is something that maybe if I look into it, I might find out why.
It might be a comfort level thing. Like, originally when YouTube started its streaming service, I actually really, as a viewer, I actually really preferred the YouTube streaming service because it just felt more comfy to me. It was more familiar to me because I was used to YouTube. I had already been watching videos on YouTube for a while, and at that time, I didn't really have any kind of connection to Twitch. Most people, though, feel differently. Most people would be much more comfortable with Twitch because that's what they know, and on the creator side, there's a whole lot of advantages
Yeah.
to streaming on Twitch that there aren't on YouTube. So that's why you see Twitch favored so much over YouTube as far as like VTubers go.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Especially English VTubers, they concentrate way
Yes.
more on Twitch than YouTube.
Yeah, and that might also be an audience thing too, because Twitch is pretty big here in like North America and in Europe and I think the West in general.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about Japan, Twitch doesn't have it as strong a presence.
Yes,
I
very
think
true.
YouTube has a stronger presence in Japan compared to Twitch.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of Japanese VTubers streaming exclusively or primarily to YouTube.
Yep, definitely. I mean, one thing that I noticed is that the Japanese VTubers, right? They concentrate they concentrate way more on YouTube platforms than they do on Twitch in general. Because I don't know, maybe because Twitch never really flew off in Japan or something. I mean,
Yeah.
there are of course Japanese Twitch streamers as well, but at the same time, I feel like there's not a comfort zone for them. Maybe because of
Yes.
the way Twitch is, like it's not something that
Yeah.
they like or something. I actually know this
Yeah.
one Japanese VTuber named Nagi who used to stream on Twitch quite a lot, but
yeah?
recently she moved to YouTube, and you know is definitely concentrating more on YouTube because I haven't seen her on Twitch for a long while.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think she had more better reception in YouTube than she did in Twitch because you know the Japanese viewers are more inclined to be
Right.
on YouTube.
Yeah. There's more of an audience there for them.
Yep.
I don't know if this is a good question or not, but something that kind of sets you apart a little bit in the community is that you are, so far as I know, the oldest member of the community, of the
Yeah.
English-speaking community.
Yeah.
I wonder, does that ever make things difficult for you, or do you really not think that's an issue at all? Like, just as far as, like, kind of connecting with the other English VTubers and stuff who you have somewhat of a generational gap with.
Yeah. Okay. I actually got to be honest with this. I do feel like I'm just like playing with not playing with kids. Like I'm trying to make myself look young or something. Like you know, one of those old
Right.
men who doesn't want to accept the fact that he's old or something like that. Is what I do feel like that sometimes, not all the time. Because somehow, I guess because generally what I like since I was a child I've never given up, right? Our cartoons, animations, and all that. So that, I guess, helped me be in a mindset that's more current. But at the same time, there are things that I would be like, wow, that wouldn't be how it was when I was a kid, and all that.
Yeah.
But it's mostly, thankfully, like, I don't know, maybe as nerds have like that mindset, that whole simple mindset of liking things for what we see. So we just go like, yeah, can accept this.
I kind of struggle with that to some degree too.
I understand. Because we're we're not that far off.
Yeah. But like you, a lot of my interests are kind of, I guess, more current.
Exactly.
And additionally, I feel like I never act my age.
It works out to me. It's like, we can connect with we can connect with the kids just because of our interest actually lines up pretty well. Even though our age is quite different, like me and say Trell. He's much younger than me, almost twice. My age is almost twice as much as his, right? But somehow we can connect so well that we can do the jokes that we do with each other, like almost naturally. And sometimes I surprise myself by how much I can connect with people so much younger than I am.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing, there's a funny story about that, because I have an older brother who's 1 year older than me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, basically, he has a son who's, I think, 14 this year. 14. He's 14. No, wait. He's 15 this year. Okay, his son is 15 this year, but I've always like connected with him because he plays video games. I play, and I would present to him video games, and I have a PS4 that he would play with and all that, right? And so one time my nephew, he was watching a Logan Paul video, and I was razzing him about it, going like, Logan Paul, why are you watching Logan Paul? He's such a bad man, blah blah blah, you should be following his example. So, but I was joking. He wants to watch whatever he likes, go ahead, I don't really mind. Yeah. But I was joking with him, and I was like, I was doing it in front of my brother, and then he was like, after the whole joke was done, and my nephew was like laughing about it, and he went off upstairs, maybe crying after that, I don't know. Then my brother was asking me, who's Logan Paul? And I was like, Logan, you don't know Logan Paul? He's this YouTuber. And I was explaining to him about who Logan Paul is and all that, and it was like, how do you know Logan Paul? Like,
yeah.
And that's when I realized, like, oh my god, I do know things that's like way too young that I'm not supposed to know or something.
Yeah.
And this was before the suicide forest thing, though. So Logan Paul wasn't like rampant in the news or anything like that.
Before the controversy with Logan Paul really took off.
Exactly. So I was like, when I was like doing that joke, it was like during Logan Paul just being a YouTuber.
We kind of never grew up.
Yep, that's pretty much the case with this. We kind of stayed in that mindset of wanting to have our youth be with us forever.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to be for the most part.
Yep.
I think I think the main thing out of life is to find ways to be happy, and that's a lot harder than it sounds. I think a lot of people, when they hear like the goal in life is to be happy, I think a lot of people would agree that's a lot harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
But that is ultimately what I'm striving for, and that's the top priority for me is I just want to be happy.
Same here. Actually, it was like one of my goals in VTubing is to, because I say that my powers are enhanced support. What that means is that the support, in my head, what that means is that the support I give to people is like more enhanced than the usual support. So it's like, because in general, I want to be happy, and I want other people that I know to be happy as well. So that's why I try to go to as many VTuber streams as I can and give them as much support as I can, and just going on about how like you're doing good and all that, stuff like that. But sometimes my prank, because I used to be a prankster when I was much younger. my prankster site does come up, and that's how all the Zerbullying came up.
Yeah, I mean, you do bully sometimes, but your point about you being supportive of people is also very true.
Yeah.
Like, especially with say the Subatron streams like mine and Momiji's.
Yup.
Like, you were there the entire time for both of us.
I try to be.
And yeah, and like mine started at a super inconvenient time for you. I mean, I know you aren't like one to kind of let your own time zone hold you back, but it did start at like
3 a.m.
3 or 4 a.m.
for me.
Yeah, and it went for 12 hours.
But it was totally fine because I was like I was prepared for it pretty much. I rested enough to actually be prepared to be to be up at 3 and be with you the whole 12 hours. And I was
very nice of you.
The first time I did that was actually with Yuikai. Yuikai's I forgot which stream was it. Was it her first anniversary stream or something? I forgot which stream. But yeah, the first time I did that was with Yuikai, and she had her 12-hour stream. But weirdly enough, even though we have the same time zone, she started her stream at midnight.
If I remember correctly, the reason why she did that, and I might be confusing the streams, but I remember for one of those 12-hour streams that she did, she actually had a vote in her Discord between 3 different times.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
And whichever one won. And they were 3 wildly different times. So it was basically a vote between, would you rather my stream start at a time that's good for North America, for Europe, or for like Asia?
That makes
so much I think
more
ultimately the North American one won out.
I see.
In the sense that it started in like the afternoon in North America and kind of went on throughout the day.
Yep.
So because of that, she ended up starting at what was a super inconvenient time for her.
Yeah. And a funny thing about that, because I think that does mean that she has more North American audience than Asian audience, I think. Which is very interesting. And what's funny about that is I actually asked her, like, why are you studying at 11:30? Yeah, I remember now. Why are you studying at 11:30 p.m. Yui? I mean, this is so bad for you because you have to stay up the whole night.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, saying that, I just have to. This is what I have to do. It might be a mistake, but we'll find out later on.
Yeah.
But it was a fun night, though. It was a super fun night.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stream actually proved to me that I can actually like help people with their Subatron as much as possible.
Man, you've been involved in a lot of them, and you also did your own 24-hour stream as well.
Yeah, I did the 24-hour comic drawing one. The comic drawing one.
Yeah.
That one, the biggest mistake I did with that one was opening the VC for everyone to join.
Although at the same time, I imagine that probably made it a little easier to stay awake because you had all that stimuli.
Yep. I mean, it's not a mistake per se, but it was just like, at one time, there was like 23 people in the VC. So it was like everyone's talking over each other. I don't even know what's being talked about.
Oh, yeah. With that many people in VC, it becomes complete chaos. Yeah. Have you thought about doing more like super long streams like that?
Yeah, I am actually planning for one either end of this month or on my first anniversary as a VTuber, June 3rd. The end of this month one is just a spur of the moment kind of thinking, like maybe I should do one, maybe I should. No, maybe I should. I don't know yet.
Yeah. Well, they're fun. They're tiring, but they're a lot of fun too.
I mean, if it happens, it'll happen. Though if I was thinking maybe for the June 3rd one, I'll probably there's probably gonna be one on that day no matter what, because it's my VTuber birthday pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
I might actually go with 24 hours for that one. Don't know yet. I mean, all I know is that I did 24 hours once. I can't do it and cannot do it ever again. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. You did more than 24 hours, really, because at the end of your 24 hours of drawing comics, you decided to start streaming Minecraft as opposed to going to sleep,
that was bad.
Like a human might.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? Because I think I remember starting the 24 hours around 12 noon the day before.
Yeah.
And when it ended on 12 noon the day after, I'm like, it's daytime. I'm still awake. So I was like, I'm still energized. I'm not sleepy. I was like, I'll play some Minecraft. Even though everyone was telling me, go to sleep, Eisu.
Yeah.
I think
That makes sense.
I think I ended up staying up for like 32 hours or something. I did get my rest afterwards though, so it's fine.
Right.
And I found
Well, that's
out.
good.
I found out.
And you're still
recently-
alive.
Yeah, I'm still alive. Exactly. That's the most important thing. You know, people still
Yeah.
told me like, stuff like you're killing yourself. I was like, but I'm still alive. I'm still fine.
Now I got that song stuck in my head. Hey, I'm still alive. Yeah,
That sounds familiar. I think I know that
Yeah, I can't remember who sings it.
song. Yeah, I think I know that song. It's like I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, it's like a rock song.
yeah, yeah.
Or maybe metal.
I think more rockish. I think.
Yeah, I can't remember who sings it. In the comments, leave a comment if you know what song I'm thinking of.
Yeah, if someone knows it, someone knows it because it's slipping my mind right now.
Yeah. Before we end things, was there anything in particular you wanted to say? Maybe things you wanted to point people towards?
I guess people can, come over to my YouTube if they want to check my videos. There's some lore videos in there, basically the origin of how I got to the virtual world. And then there's also the lore of my brothers, my 4-dimensional brothers. 3 of which was possibly transferred by Argama, which who you already
Well, she kind of invented the Power Rangers aesthetic for you.
Exactly. Yeah, people can check out my YouTube. You can see some lore videos in there. There's gonna be more in the future if I get the time for it, definitely. But right now, I alternate streams between Twitch and YouTube, so you probably can see YouTube stream. Other than that, there's also Twitch and Twitter, because I always announce things or post things on Twitter. Which, there's a funny story to that. When I first started Twitter, back in, I think 2009 was when I first started Twitter. Yeah, I think you can see in my Twitter when I first joined. I literally don't know how to use Twitter. I'm like, oh, you can post things. Okay, cool. And you can read things. Whoa, things are moving too fast. I don't know who to read.
Yeah.
Because like I was following a bunch of like celebrities and all that. I was like, there's so much things happening. I can't read everything.
Yeah.
So for a long while, I gave up on reading Twitter. I don't post on it. I don't read it. I'm like, I have a Twitter, but whatever. I just if I have anything to say on it, I'll say in it. And then when I started VTubing, I started thinking, you know what? A lot of VTubers use Twitter for promotion and all that. I was like, why not I do that too? Because before that, I was thinking, because Malaysia is still heavily on Facebook. Whether you be young or old, doesn't matter. Still heavily on Facebook. Right? Yeah, so I was like thinking when I started VTubing that I'll be posting on Facebook and stuff. I won't be using Twitter much. But then as I go into the VTubing world, I started realizing people use Twitter more in the VTuber world than Facebook. Even like Harune even said like ignore her Facebook.
Yeah, I don't have a pending Facebook.
So yeah,
maybe I should get one at some point. I don't know if it would.
It'll be
I don't know if anyone would check it.
Yeah, I mean it'll be a nice like social media to maybe like, because there are like audiences from Facebook as well. Because
I mean if people think it would help.
Yeah, because I have a bot where if I upload a new video on YouTube or if I start streaming, they'll post on Facebook as well. They'll post a link on Facebook as well, so people, if there's an audience from Facebook, they'll come in from there. But but most of my audience still comes from Twitter. So
that makes sense.
But the way I see it, even if one person comes from Facebook, at least it does its job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I'll have your links in the description as well.
All right, thanks.
If people want to look at that.
Yep. That'd be great. Thanks, Mendy.
No problems. Thank you so much for joining me and letting me talk with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting to interview me like this. because
Yeah, of
I
course.
always love watching people, you interview people and all that. So actually having
Thank
this for
you.
me as well is quite an honor.
Thank you. I'm having a lot of fun doing these interviews.
Yeah,
I know
they're really
I haven't
fun.
done many of them yet, but I want to do a ton of these.
Yeah, I mean they're really fun to watch.
Thank you. So that was my interview with Eisu. Thank you again so much for joining me. And I hope you guys learned a bit about Eisu. And I hope you all have a good day. And bye-bye till next time. Say bye-bye, Eisu.
Till next time, everybody. Enjoy the future, citizens.